Welcome back to the Zero Generation podcast. Here we talk to the dreamers who left home and are now making a home abroad. Today I'm in the studio with someone who's super colorfully dressed, and I'm excited because of that, and also because I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, and a topic that we as people who live, in a different country from where we grew up or from what we know, think about quite a lot, and that's food. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to my guest to introduce himself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bawo Oyowe. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I was born and raised in Lagos, Nigeria, and I'm happy to be here to participate in this episode.
Thank you so much for being here, Bawo. First of all, your name is very interesting,
yes.
And this it just popped into my head. I'm super interested in what your name means and where you're from, ethnically or culturally in Nigeria.
Okay, my name means, my full name is nourished Bawo Oyowe.
Okay.
Very long, right?
Is that on your passport?
So my mom, we'll get to that. It's on my birth certificate. Okay. So on my birth certificate, it's nourished Bawo Oyowe. Okay. And it means one with God shall never perish. It's a very, very, very powerful name. Growing up, I didn't like my name, obviously, because kids are mean. Kids are evil.
In Nigeria or here?
Both.
Right. Fair.
Especially here, but both.
Yeah.
But you start to embrace the meaning of your name culturally, how unique it is, and the short form of it, Bawo. Our tribe is from Delta State. Our state is Delta State, but our tribe is Shekiri.
Right.
So my dad is Shekiri, and then my mom is also Shekiri and Ghanaian, and a lot of people don't know that. But yeah, my mom was born in Ghana. My grandmother on my mom's side is fully Ghanaian. But yeah, it's a nice, interesting blend.
Yeah, it's an interesting blend. Speaking of long names, like my name is Oluwadamilola, and it's my name like legally everywhere. And I remember when I was younger, I was frustrated because in exams in Nigeria, especially like federal exams, you have to write your full name.
And then you shade the boxes of it.
Yes. People are done and they're like answering questions, and I'm here writing Oluwadamilola.
Yeah.
I never not give my full government names out here. But, even here as well, when I'm on the phone, that's a frustration as well, because they're like, what's your name? I'm like, do you want my legal name or am I going to have to spell it out? And it's just one of those things that, like, if your name is like Lucy or John.
Yes, it makes it very easy for them.
Think about. But such a powerful name. All right, let's get into like talking about food and, all the things that we love. Awesome. I think as an immigrant and as a writer, I think about, I've written about food and how it's such a big part of culture. I actually put a question out on my Instagram recently, and I was like, what do you miss about home? And I would say 80% of the answer was food in some variation or the other. Some people were very specific, like I miss Nigerian puff puff, or I miss the
small chops.
Yes, small chops, and food is how we, it's how we express love, how we gather. It's like the flavors of home that like really take you back and make you feel safe and take you back to, I feel like there's psychology to that. So, you are, the owner of Little Lagos, the restaurant here. How did you get into the food business? And, how has maybe your love for food, or maybe it would not, like, is it just pure business for you? I just want to, hear about that.
Well, thanks. I would say I was lucky, but food growing up has always brought everyone around. My mom is a fantastic cook to me, and I'm sure most people's moms as well are fantastic cooks to them. But to me, she is everything with that. Because of her upbringing in Ghana and in Nigeria and parts of Nigeria, as far as being in Lokoja, being in Jos, and then moving to Lagos, being in Delta State, there in Warri, Sapele.
Right.
she was able to learn and understand how to make most of these different tribal local foods.
Yeah. Can you tell me some? Because I know banga because I'm married to a man from Delta State.
Yes.
But like, what else? Like lokoja. Like that middle belt. What are the unique things they eat?
I won't be able to fully tell you. I'll be honest with you. I could tell you what I know that she makes that I enjoy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Of course, the banga soup.
Yeah.
With and all the way with its authenticity, with the periwinkles in them,
Right.
with the little bit of the stockfish, the like the shrimp, everything.
Yeah.
Our banga is always good. Also we have owo. Owo soup is a little thicker than the banga one, and you can eat owo with boiled yam. But we also eat it with starch, like the and starch. The word starch is debatable because it's all starch, from your cassavas, your ground cassavas, to you're not adding palm oil to that one to give it that yellow color and texture. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that growing up. I enjoyed epuru. Epuru is your boiled yam and pepper soup in the same pot mixed together. So it's almost like a porridge, but it's not porridge. But it's actually like your pepper soup with the slightly thicker in the boiled yam. Yeah. I've tried, and even some of my mom's Ghana flavors, like the light soup, kenke. I've tried these things growing up. But bringing all that full circle, coming here, just like almost every immigrant, was staying here for school. Right. So,
is this college or before
for college?
Or after? Okay.
So I graduated high school in Nigeria, 16 going 17, and luckily for us, we were able to come in here without too much of a hassle. It was just my older sister that had to get like a student visa, but some of us were lucky enough to be able to come in here without much hassle from family members that helped us file to get to move. So the timing of everything in which it happened happened to be when I was graduating. So I just came in here. I was supposed to go to high school, North Springs High, because I said my age was still where I could still get into the system and get into high school, and I refused. I was like, no, I already graduated back home. Why I go and start making new friends here and trying to like do high school stuff? But anyways, within all that, the family, hey, school. So I went to a 2-year college, and I just wanted to be like my dad. My dad's an engineer. He's a trained engineer, electrical engineer. I went to school for industrial engineering. I just wanted to be like him. And
now you're...
Oh my God!
You're engineering food in a way.
Yes. So the love for food was always home. When my mom came here, she had no friends. Yes, we had family that lived here, but all of her friends that she grew up with, her peers, nobody was here. Yeah. So when my mom is nervous, she cooks. When she's bored, she cooks. When she's angry, she cooks. Right. Like cooking is her therapy. And then we all just eat. Yeah. And I'm a growing kid, playing basketball, running around, you name it. My friends will come to the house to eat. And most of them were new friends I made here that also came here for school. Some of them don't even have their family here. So the guys were like, hey, mommy, make us a plate or make us a tray to take home. And she would willingly do that. So from the backyard of our house or the patio on the deck, she'll have our big 2 pots. And she's just making these big meals. And she'll serve them around for us at home. The idea of saying, hey, Mom, one day I would love to open up a restaurant for you. Not for me. For you. It's like my own thank you for you. Because like you're doing all of this and everyone's happy with you. And it brings all the friends and everyone around. To where from home we started catering. Okay. So she'll cater for people's birthdays. She'll cater food for people to have for a week. The Nigerian embassy that was up the street from us where we lived, we were catering for them. And we grew from there little by little at home. But there was a lot of fear. We didn't come from a family background of, well, at least my own immediate nuclear family were not entrepreneurs.
Right.
I didn't come from a family that had money. We were not, well, I'll say my dad's experience and my experience is different because he went through what he had to go through to give me the best life he can. But
just to cut in there a little bit, I think there's a couple of things you said that I want to sort of even dial on because they're so true. The first is your mom coming and not having friends, and like as an adult, it's different. Like you move into school, right? You move and you start school, and you're at an age where you're just around your age mates.
Correct.
You're more likely. I mean, there'll still be challenges, but you're more likely to. Because my brother is in college now, and it's still a jarring thing. Like you move from Nigeria to here, but when you're older and there's no school, there's no like common ground for you to socialize or build community that you maybe even took for granted when you were in Nigeria. It's hard.
It's very difficult.
It's hard. And so, I love hearing that, like, your friends were able to come around, and then from her cooking for them, like that now became
She's everybody's mommy.
She's everybody's mom, even up till now.
Till now.
I love that.
Till now.
I love that. And then the second part was, around this, like your dad's experience being different from yours. Because that's another thing, right? Like you move to another country and you just want to do things by the book so that you can make it. But, you don't want to branch out. You're not trying to do too much. You're trying to assimilate and, just succeed. And most of the time you don't want to take the off the beaten path. You see people like, okay, this is what you need to do. So I definitely empathize with that. But I love that you had a different experience. So it seems like, your dad's path opened up more opportunities for you. Or let me know put words in your mouth, but like that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, in many ways. In many ways I looked at what and how I grew up with being able to remember all the way back in Surulere, Aguda, about 13 of us in a 3-bedroom apartment where it's some of my dad's siblings, some of my mom's siblings, and everyone is just coming together to find a way to make it.
Right.
And helping each other through school, training each other. At least there's a roof over their head, but like, luckily for my dad, he was able to get a job with, USC Foods or those guys back then when he finished.
Back then they had an aunt who worked there as well.
He started off there, USC Foods, and so it was a decent pay to then get an apartment, and then everybody's in that apartment, including us, we're growing up, and then transitioned to Caterpillar and started to grow. But his stories of his youth and him getting married late and having kids late and how he got there, it made a huge impression in my life. And seeing that around where you have to really work hard. And he was a company man. So there was not any, he had some friends that were doing some things a little different. And then, of course, as a kid growing up too in Nigeria, you start to get exposed to a few things and you start asking yourself, what's daddy really doing now? I look at this other guy here, they're doing this, they're doing that.
Like these other people were
maybe making it more, in some ways. Like you start to, like, I'll be honest, I was one of those kids at home. I used to like challenge the process because I wanted more. I had big eyes.
You were asking your parents, does that man's dad, does my friends that have 2 heads?
Thank you. The same way they'll be telling us most times, like, this one have 2 heads. Why is so? I wanted more. At the same time, I was lucky to be brought up in a household. Yes, around when we're eating and dining and talking, there's a lot of humility. There's a lot of my dad is a talker, and he'll try to remind you the reasons why. This is why I'm doing this. Right. This is why you should do this. My dad, I don't want to go deeper into this topic, but it never really hit me or did anything like, discipline that we had back home. My dad was one, he would talk your ears off that you rather just, So, but it helped, it shaped a lot of who I am today. So tying that back into your original question as far as how I got into the restaurant space, mom had no friends. She loved to cook. My friends, myself, everyone loved her cooking. And I said, hey, one day I would love to open up a restaurant for you. And she said, no, just go to school, focus on school. So that fear of entrepreneurship, we could have started, Little Lagos could have been born many years ago.
Right.
And when I say many years ago, I talked about this when she started doing what she was doing. It was 2004, 2005. So we're looking at, this is 20 years ago.
20 actually, square.
Little Lagos didn't get to open its doors here in Atlanta until 2017. So you can see Little Lagos is, what, 7 years old?
Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah. So when you decided in 2017 to open it, was it like, at that point, was it like, okay, I'm doing this for me, or was it still, Mommy, I'm opening this for you?
Yes, it was more of both.
Okay.
At that point, at the time I was opening up Little Lagos, and again, because of the segment and the kind of episode that you have for this,
yeah,
Little Lagos was business number 16 that I had embarked on.
Wow.
Yes. So I'm saying that I've been through a lot in between.
Yeah.
Trying things, many failed.
16.
Number
There's
16.
some you want to, like, of course, we can't go through all 16. I'm interested in, like, the time span, what the standout businesses were, and sort of how you then said, okay, I failed at 15. I'm still going to try again.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll be, this time, let me do it with food and let's see what happens.
It's just trying stuff. So, the one I of course I remember every single one of them, but the one that always stands out for me and how I started was valet.
Okay.
So I was 18, about to turn 19. I used to go to a bakery. It reminded me of Mr. Biggs back home, with their donuts that had the sugar around it and the ketchup inside.
Yeah.
Yes, those kind of pastries that Mr. Biggs used to carry.
Yeah. Was it jam or ketchup?
It was like jamish, jam or
like
ketchup.
very
Yeah,
red,
yeah.
like
It was red.
Lots of coloring. Yeah.
Yes, but it was delicious as a kid then.
Yes.
So there's this Korean spot in the Gwinnett area. If you live, like those of you that stay in the Atlanta area, you know what I'm talking about. The Gwinnett area, you see a lot of Asian influence there, and it's Koreans.
Yeah.
So I met this Korean developer. His name is Dennis Han, who became one of my mentors. But I met him by chance. I used to just go there and, drive up there when I can get to take my mom's car or something, and I'll buy those pastries. But I'll hang out there sometimes because they had Wi-Fi. And I might do some work. I'll eat that and I'll go home. So then nobody sees me with, the pastries. I won't bring it home to my sisters or anything. I can eat it by myself if we're still sticking on food. But I was hanging out there one day, and I saw a man outside, Asian man, wearing these cargo shorts, these Jesus of Nazareth type sandals, and like a slacked collared shirt, just looking very, very regular, smoking a cigarette. And he stopped me. He was like, "Oh, you come here often? Like, oh, you like this place?" I said, "Yeah, why?" He said, "Like, I love the pastries and everything." Like, "So you live around here?" I said, "No, not really, but I drive here for this." Okay. He said, "Okay, it's nice. I like you. You're quiet. You don't bother nobody. What do you do?" I said, "I'm in school. I'm a student." But I asked him, "So what about you?" And he said, "Oh, this is a developer. That this is his plaza, his shopping plaza." I looked at him like,
you're not
please,
my idea
no, I'm 18.
Yeah.
And growing up where we grew up, when you see someone that's somebody, there's a way they move.
They want you to know that they're big.
Correct.
In fact, they look large. Yeah.
Correct. So
maybe not so much anymore, but yeah.
He's very humble.
Child, yeah.
He was very quiet, and was like, "No, this is his place." As a matter of fact, this store that I'm in that I like, he is renting it out to his brother, his older brother, because he was the youngest. Yeah. Him being the youngest brother is the developer, and his brother is the one doing the bakery store. I was like, wow. So I looked at him in awe, but at the same time, I didn't really believe him.
Just whining me.
I didn't believe him. So, we just got to talking and we just chit-chatting. And so he walks me around and actually opens up the trunk of his S500. I was like, okay, that's one good sign. He popped the trunk and brought out a bunch of keys. And then he takes me to one of the suites over there, opens it up and showing me around that
Great.
he's about to rent this out to a lounge.
Great.
And I was like, oh wow. So, but he said, what do you think? I don't know this guy.
Yeah.
I just said, okay, what I think I think your development looks beautiful. It's a beautiful property. The tile on the floor was still like freshly done. I said, looks good, looks beautiful. But I think if you're going to rent this out to someone for a restaurant lounge, it would be nice if you had a valet service, because what's going to happen to everybody else with your parking? Like, parking is going to be a problem. I just said that. I'm just talking.
Yeah.
I said, oh, that's true. Hey, you want to set one up and run it? I said, what? What do you mean? Like, open valet business?
Yeah.
I said, I don't know how. I don't know what. I've never opened up a business in my life. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, how?
So did he then
He gave me his card and then said, come see him in his office whenever I have some time. When I took his card and found his office, across from a mall here called Lenox Mall, there's just 2 brown buildings. As a matter of fact,
the Lenox Mall in Lagos, did they copy from one?
they probably did. They probably did.
Probably.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Nigerians here.
It's 2 brown buildings, and even like my cousin's studio was around there too as well. When she has moved here now, it's I now see his office, and now he's there suited up, secretary, everything, and then he sat with me, and we talked. They said, hey, this is how you register LLC. It's what you can do. He showed me what to do.
Wow. Are you still in touch with him today?
Yes, Dennis and I. Well, it's been almost 2 years since I've spoken to him.
Yeah.
But it's been 20 years.
This is amazing. Like, that's not even where I thought this story was going. But the fact that, so it sounds like there was this Korean man who you walked up to, or he walked up to you, said hello, and he literally taught you how to set up your first business and almost like handed you the keys.
Just basically showed me what to do.
That is, so that was the first.
That's why that would always stick with me, because that was my first step of taking a chance.
Yeah.
My friends were buying Jordans when they get their refund checks. I wasn't the best student in school, but once in a while I get on the dean's list and, might get a little scholarship on grant. But I was buying a safe to hang the keys.
Yeah.
I'm like having friends that don't have papers, but they can drive stick shift.
Yeah.
So as an immigrant, hey, come on, we're all in school together. You want to make some money?
Yeah.
You have your international Nigeria license.
Yeah.
Bring it. Can you drive stick shift? Come.
Wow.
And we were hustling. And today, many of us are still friends.
Wow.
Where it wasn't something I went to say, oh, this is my business. No, it was ours.
Yeah.
In the sense where we needed each other. I couldn't run and park all those cars myself.
Yeah. And
I was learning. So most of my friends today that are like, everyone has grown in their own space.
Yeah.
And
this is such an awesome story. I mean, I think first the Korean, that I feel like that almost feels like angelic, like that whole encounter and how he saw a young black boy and like gave you the, hey, here's how to do things. But then also this is a great theme that you bring up around, then calling your friends, because you can't succeed in business without people. And I think for some people, I don't want to speak for everyone or for the entire continent or country, but I think a lot of us who are corporate people, or like we're very solo, like I want to achieve, or I want to, get this done. This is what I want to do. Go to school, get my job, get my certification or whatever. And I think it's a different mindset when you go into business, because you will die. You literally drop dead.
It is very tough.
Yeah. So, and I love the fact that you're still like in touch with all these people and you all have grown and come up together. So fast forwarding now to, Little Lagos, talking about food, I see, Nigerian food is now, Nigerian music is now on top. Nigerian food is also, there is ranking a little bit. You see jollof wars all over the place. I really wish for jollof wars to end, please. And it's enough. Thank you all. You can go home. But, Nigerian food is delicious, right?
Yes.
And there's something that I learned about the Thai government, that they actually had a policy around making Thai food global.
Oh, wow.
So it was a policy driven thing, and even in Nigeria, there are Thai restaurants that are like Thai government policy, and that's why like everywhere you go in the US, there's Thai food, and Thai food is delicious.
Yes.
How, do you see Little Lagos as like a cultural ambassador in that way?
In some ways, and the blessing with Little Lagos was the opportunity to have a place at the time in which we opened in Atlanta to be a nice, neat, clean Nigerian restaurant in America. Because growing up in Nigeria, but coming here and then you travel some cities and you go to an African restaurant or a Nigerian restaurant, unfortunately at the time, and this is in the early 2000s, and all the way to the mid 2000s, even all the way to 2010 sometimes, you weren't seeing nice, neat, presentable African restaurants. So we were big on that when we wanted to open.
So you want people to come in and dine, not just like grab your takeout, go and like hold your nose.
Yes, at the time. And it's tough. Our food, as far as our seasonings and spices, are very strong.
Yes.
So most times you enter our restaurant, it's so difficult, and then you have to spend on the back end for like air suctions and all that just to get as much as you can out of it, but it's difficult. So I get that, but what was important for us at the time, and it being, I guess, a cultural ambassador that you said, I believe it is now in hindsight. When I started, I didn't know or think that that's what it was going to be. I just saw a vision of what I hoped for it to be, which was, hey, we need a Nigerian restaurant here that people can be proud of, where the food tastes good, and the vibes that you can set up there are authentic enough for people to say, you know what, I want to hang out there. To sit down, eat, hang out. If a DJ's there, I'll dance and party, and then I can go home. And we achieved that. And we're lucky to achieve that at the time that we did. And then we just tried to grow it.
That's awesome. I think, I moved to the US 10 years ago. So I came for grad school. I went to uni in Nigeria, and then I came here for grad school. And I think even between then and now, I've seen a lot of Nigerian restaurants like take that step to be like, we want to be a dining experience. We want to be an experience where you can come and sit. And like, I know I agree with you. Those spices are very strong, and but I do love seeing our food being like, I'm joking about the jollof wars, but even like on social media, you see people who are maybe like Indonesian or not remotely from Nigeria, like, oh, I'm going to do jollof today. And I think, in no small way, it's like restaurants like yours that have like pushed the culture out to the point where, people are now paying attention. There's another part of this that's interesting to me, and I actually wrote about it. So there are now these like ready to eat or, just heat and eat like brands that are coming up now. Ado is the one that's top of mind. I think there's Ayo Foods as well. And there's a fast casual restaurant, Dundun, in Manhattan, where they do like little like takeout bowls with like akara, like they have like vegan, like very creative, takes on our food. What do you know any of these, and like just like what are your thoughts?
So my thoughts with that, most times if you can get it right, to shed more light on food taste and get creative in how people can get to experience that, then I'm all for it. I'm all for new ideas and innovation when it comes to the entrepreneurship space and the food industry. But it's very, very difficult. So you have to stay, you have to find your niche first.
What is difficult? Like when you say, is it like logistically?
Yes. So in many areas, and the many areas where I say is, if you see like, I laugh sometimes where the gray hairs are coming and I'm losing my edges. Because, well, one, you have to stay on top of service,
right?
Especially if you're in a dining like space here. Finding the right team to work with is the most difficult part. You can have a great chef, great recipe, great ambience, people come in, they're wild, but how do you ensure that their experience with the first point of contact, which is either their host or the waiter or waitress or the bartender, those are the tough areas.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the consistency with them giving the right service.
Yeah.
So get all those right is great. Then you now look at the back end for logistics. Now, the people making the okay, let me put it this way. I think the challenge is bringing in our spices, our food, our organic, authentic.
Yeah. Something like yam. I know that yam is a hard one because you can't grow it.
Can't grow those, especially the Ghana yam type.
Ghana yam.
It is tough.
Yeah.
But getting that for the right price so that your guests or your customers are not screaming about the price points that you're putting onto them. Shipping those things from all parts of Africa where they come from. Yes, you're not doing it yourself. You're buying from a third party or your vendors and those guys. But sometimes they come in and they're not in the best shape because they're perishables.
Yeah.
And then you have to keep trying to source these items. If you change things on your menu sometimes because you can't be consistent in sourcing what you need, you get some pushback from your guests sometimes. Why I say it's so hard and so difficult is that those of once upon a time, we that are the ones enjoying meals when we go eat at places, we don't want to care about how we got here.
Yeah.
We just, hey man, I came here once, the food was great. I want it to taste like this every time I come here.
Yeah.
It is very difficult to achieve that.
Yeah. And another thing that comes to mind is that, you know, like you said, most of us are focused on the end, but there's a whole chain, like there's a whole value chain.
Correct.
And I think even in terms of business, you know, that side of my brain is like clicking, right? Because I think there are business opportunities that are very obvious in the here, take the food and go. But then in that entire chain of sourcing, of you know, quality assurance and all, I think there's business opportunities.
There really is.
Like, how has the Thai government done it? You know, like, can somebody research?
And even you saying that is like, I never knew that. So you just educated me on that. But I think that the ones that are doing like the akara and things like that, it makes sense. And especially if it makes sense for them to figure it out, hey, why not? And it's beans technically. So that's, it's not easy,
It's not easy, it can be.
but it's very doable.
Yes.
So it ties into immigrants that come in here, just don't be afraid, you know. Try to get creative. Like these different people are being creative today. And finding the ones that are vegan, the ones that are like, when there are trendy things happening. Like you mentioned the Jollof Wars. We had to participate in Jollof Wars. Part of it could get you the traction that you might need for marketing.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a lot of African Americans and you know Caucasians, you name it, that come to the restaurant off of TikTok or Instagram challenges.
Even now.
Last year there was a challenge with the fufu challenge, like a pounded yam challenge, like Igusi challenge, all kinds of challenges.
There was a lot during the pandemic times.
I promise you. So they'll come in, and then now they want to sample it, and then they'll tell you, give you their own review, and they're streaming it on their live Instagram live, or they're actually on TikTok with it, and they make their own content with that. And then everyone else is curious. I want to go try that. So, you know, sometimes it's great, and then sometimes those kind of marketings are not so great because there's this guy that's going around with the reviews, the food reviews.
Oh, Keith Lee.
Oh, my God. I was so nervous when that man... listen, man.
But you know, the thing is, if you get it right, then like, boom.
I promise you. I was very nervous because there started being some other people that wanted to be like him.
Oh, I see.
as well.
I see.
Because I mean, he has his success.
Yes.
He got very, very trendy,
Yeah.
and people line up. Like, the marketing is great,
Yes.
especially when it works.
When it works, yeah. So you're like,
If it's not working,
who is here?
because you just so that's
I
what I'm
did
saying.
that.
I'm always, when I see somebody, sometimes we bring out food to do that. Hey, please
Yeah.
make sure
Yeah,
make sure this person's all right.
Train your employees to
It's
be
tough, man.
but what you said was consistent, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're consistent, whoever comes in the door,
yes,
and I think across the board, honestly, even the people who are doing like fast casual and people who are doing like prepackaged, like cooked meals, frozen, consistency is key. You know, I remember talking to the CEO of one of those companies, and he was like, you know, I worked at Panda Express, and I saw like everything is like 2 tablespoons, like down to the recipe, and I'm like, how can we do that? And that's what he's now trying to experiment with, so that there is like a consistent taste that you can, you know, you can bank on when you.
And there's almost no excuse. But being in the space for the amount of years I've been in the space, and with a few other locations of sister companies that I would say also in the restaurant space, it has taught me that it is very difficult to be consistent when you're teaching somebody. So, because sometimes there's some human errors. It's not necessarily saying it's an excuse, but you can be the best chef in the world, and you've shown me from every step of the way, these are the books, put 2 tablespoons here, do it exactly like this. And while you're doing that, I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
I know I'm supposed to do this, but one day, while I'm doing this, I might just say,
let me try.
Because one, it might be a supply issue to where, hey, we normally use red habanero.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna use the orange one because the red one is out of supply today. Fine. Coloring of the look is a little different. Then today you go to your supplier, you normally use Maggie crayfish, but she's out of the Maggie crayfish brand. She has a knockoff brand or similar brand that is I don't know, something else crayfish. Now, would you say because I don't have this, I won't be able to cook today? Most times you want to be able to buy that and still make sure that you can make the meal so you can sell. And then that might alter your taste. So I usually pray that guests give grace, because some of my, especially our African clients, they're not very forgiving. So they come in and, it's...
It almost feels like that, that stereotype of like the dad who's like getting a lot of flack at work and then comes home and now like I can breathe down your neck. So it's like we're in a place where we can shout at people and this is our own place, and and so that's absolutely true. Although as sometimes as a customer or consumer you are disappointed. That I don't think really, honestly, I've lived in Austin, in Boston, in a few cities, and generally I've had a good experience with food, and when I haven't, I'm if it's like ways, I'll just give a review, like 2 out of 5. Cool. Like I move on.
I get afraid of all those when I see those. But go ahead.
It has a high rating.
Well, it's here and there. Don't say it out loud. It's here and there.
As we begin to wrap up, I think you mentioned something that I really want to touch on, because in the past, I would say like 5 to 7 years, there's been an outflow of young Nigerians who are kind of our age, who have kids or maybe not, like establishing their careers, just leaving Nigeria and like moving to Canada or to the UK or to the US, right? And something you said earlier, like don't be afraid, to try something different or to explore entrepreneurship. Like, if you could speak to those people, based off of your experience, what would you say? Like someone who comes in and, they're like, I don't know, should I invest time like trying to like go up the corporate ladder, or should I explore entrepreneurship? Or should I do both? Like what kind of mindset do they need? And like, just any thoughts you have around like what might be useful for them?
It's to each his own, honestly. I knew that I wanted more for myself. So if that individual wants more for themselves, you have to roll up your sleeves and do whatever it takes. Part of the stories I didn't get to tell in between were, I'm going to school and I have 3 jobs. Did I have the opportunity to have a little bit of pocket money and something to be okay? And yes, but I wanted more.
Yeah.
So while I'm taking classes, in between I do all part-time jobs. I'm working at Dollar General. I'm working at Wilson's Leather in the mall. I'm working at Macy's Shoes. And still going to school.
Yeah.
Yes, they were low. Back then, I'm getting, $7 an hour? $6.50 an hour? I wanted more.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go ask, so I would go do that. And it's the same way. So if you come in and then if you already have kids, then it's even you having to hustle much more.
Yeah.
If you have the right, you're blessed enough to have the right education and can work for a company, work for a company. Not everybody has to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It is very, very difficult. It would sometimes make you lose friends, lose time, quality time with your family, lose sleep, lose hair.
Yeah.
But also it could be rewarding if it's something that after a while it works. Like I said, at the time I was in Little Lagos, I was opening up, it was number 16. Today, I'm at almost 20 that I've started and sometimes didn't get to finish or they, fail and lost hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars and still wake up the next day and breathe without losing your self.
Yeah.
So all those things I would say to them that just don't be afraid. Try. If you're going to fail fast, fail early, learn from them. And then find what you're really passionate about. And even if you're not doing it now and you're seeing that what you need to do is getting you on that path eventually, it's never too late. You could be 60 years old and you can start the thing that you're passionate about and then your life is more fulfilling.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. My big takeaway is you have to want more and do, what works for you. Plus, it's never too late to pivot. On that note, thank you so much, Bawo, for this great conversation.
This was lovely.
I could talk about food forever and ever and ever, but I have to let you go back to.
And I'm sorry, I don't even know if I felt like I spoke enough about food for your segment.
It's part of it's food as as part of the conversation around being an immigrant. So we talked about your story, and that's really
enough. All right.
Thank you so much.
Anytime.
Where can people find you or Little Lagos online or?
Yes, so
in person?
Little Lagos Atlanta. That's the handle on Instagram. And my personal page. So, but Little Lagos Atlanta online. That's where you can find the company space. I guess my page is at Illusions Fame. So you can find me online as well, Instagram.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you all for joining Zero Generation. Till next time, you can find this podcast on all the podcast listening platforms, on my YouTube page as well at Dami Onwa. There we'll have the video, and you can follow me on social media at Dami Onwa is my handle. See you all next time.